cloud. There we go. All right.
Okay. Okay. So Martha and Luisa, I'm Kara Jacobs, and Elisa Pinatoa is my colleague. We work together.
Hi.
And we're the ones who created the activities. I did the intermediate and Elisa did the novice activities for all of the episodes. So we did the first 10, and then this summer we did the next 10. So the 5 for season, the 5 more for season 1, and then the first 5 of season 2. So yeah, we did that all this summer. We're really excited to see that they're up on Voces now. And then also tonight, what we thought we'd just kind of share what's new, because there's something else that's new that I'll show in a minute, the video activity. And then we'll kind of talk about like what we had in mind when we made the activities, and Elisa's wonderful idea of the variety of activities, which you might already be familiar with, but we'll talk a little bit more about that. And then talk about some tips, things that we do and how we use it in our school and what levels we use it with. And then we can talk a little bit about why go. So that's kind of what we just kind of pretty informal. I just have some notes here that I wrote down, and I think Elisa probably did too. But first thing I want to show you that is exciting is in the, let's see, let me just find, I'm not, haven't been using Zoom in a while, which is great. So I want to show, let's see. There we go. All right. Can you see, you can see the.
No, right now we just see YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
You haven't, I have another. There we go. I had 2 Chrome browsers open. All right. Now I have it. There we go. Now you can see it, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. So this is for episodes 11 through 20. The 6th activity is an activity where they watch and then it asks them questions, almost like another site that you may use that has video type puzzles, right? So they watch it, and I'm hitting play here. It just takes a minute to get started. And then I'm just gonna mute it so we don't have to, the sound might be bad. So it plays, as you can see there, and then it asks a question, and then they answer it. So that's kind of an exciting new feature that we have. So I don't know. All right, so that was one thing that we wanted to mention. So now, if we look at all 20 episodes, and we have an intermediate and the novice, which I think is great because we can use it at any different level. So Elisa, do you want to talk a little bit about the aim of the activities and the different type of activities? And
Sure. Yeah, and just something else that's new in this video activity is that it also incorporates some short answers as well. So not only do they have kind of those traditional like cierto falso, yes, no, answering the questions, but there's also kind of like, what's your opinion on this? And so there's some short answer questions in there in those activities as well. In addition to the new video activity, the other activities are, if you guys have used Go before, but we kept the same type of activities for the other 5. There are, like Kara's showing you, the read and do the close, filling in the missing words for part 1. Then we have the quién lo hizo, quién lo dijo, so who did it, who said it. And that kind of continues in the novice activities. In the beginning of the novice activities, it's like a who does it, who says it. And then towards the end of the novice, the first 10 episodes, it goes into like who did it, who said it. So using like the preterite in the past tense in those.
Elisa, can I just ask a question for the novice? Because I've been in the world of the intermediate ones. Is it quién lo diría? Didn't we have that? Quién lo diría? So it's not exactly right, so it's, yeah.
Yeah, it's not exactly what they say. It's kind of a paraphrase, but it does in those activities, in these new episodes, it does use the past tense. So it does kind of follow that pattern. We also have cierto, falso, which is great to do on Voces, also really adaptable for like playing games in the classroom. So like if you like play the marker game where they grab you could just kind of print this out and then do it like an audio and read it to them. And if it's cierto, they grab the marker. If it's falso, they just leave it. So there's a lot of kind of cierto, falso games that you could use this for in the classroom. Let's see, the next type of activity we have is questions and answers. Again, this is in the first 10 episodes, continues in the next 10. And also, like, I actually am going to do an adaptation of this in my classroom later this week, where I printed out the questions and the answers. And instead of doing it on the website, I'm going to have them do like a scavenger hunt around the classroom. So all of the a lot of these activities that we made were kind of in mind, like they can either do them on the website as they are, or teachers can print them out and kind of adapt them to do different ways, different activities in the classroom.
Yeah, and make them a little bit more interactive. I like the marker game. That's a good one. And then
the screenshots, so the pictures matching with the descriptions. And that one usually tends to be one that I do online with my classes because it's hard to adapt the pictures. So that one's a great one. We have the screenshots on there. And I see a question. Can you explain the scavenger hunt? Yes, I can. So basically what I did was I printed out the questions and answers. I cut it up so that the students have the questions, and then I cut up the answers so that they are around the classroom. And I did have to do a little extra prep. I didn't use the letters that are assigned in Voces. I assigned like my own letters to each answer. And then I'm gonna paste them around like little papers around the classroom. And then the students have to go find the answer and then write the letter. And then I'll have a key that has the correct one so they can check with me. So a little extra prep work, but those questions and answers are already written, so it makes it pretty easy.
And these, obviously, as I'm looking at them, these are the intermediate level ones, which there is a pretty big jump. This summer when we were doing this to sharing this with some teachers, they noticed. I said, "Wow, that's a big jump," and it is a pretty big jump. I have students that were using the novice activities last year, and Elisa does too. And for some of them, they were able to adapt and use the intermediate. Some of them are still struggling a little bit, but I think with partner help, they can get there. Another activity for the questions and the answers, you could make a quick grid bingo. I don't know if you've heard of that activity. It's a Martina Beck's activity. So they would have a grid 3x3, and you would just show them the answers. They write down the answers in the grid, and then you say the question. So that's another way just to make it a little bit more interactive. Mm-hmm. And then
to kind of add off of that, with like some students making the jump from novice to intermediate, the great thing about having both the novice and the intermediate is, sometimes if I'm going to adapt one, I want one that, kind of goes quicker. I might choose like one intermediate activity that I really want them to do on their own and work through. And then I might adapt some of the intermediate ones to do together as a class. And I might pick like a novice, but instead of doing like seeing the writing, I make it just an audio. So I kind of make it a little more challenging that way, but it's, kind of giving them a quicker activity and then really letting them focus on one intermediate if they're kind of struggling with that transition.
Yeah, that's great. I'm always learning from Elisa. So another thing that both of you said that you've been in here and seen them and used them. So one thing that we like to share when we talk about using this and using any show is in the language classroom, we show movies, different things that we show that are audio. Sometimes we have the English subtitles, but for this, we only have the Spanish subtitles. So, and they can slow it down, but there's only the Spanish subtitles. And that was purposeful. That was a choice. And one of the reasons is if they have the subtitles in English, there's not really a purpose to these activities, right? I mean, there's so many reasons why you want the Spanish subtitles, but one of the big reasons is when they do these input activities after, they're understanding more what happened. So the activities aren't just language practice. They are language practice and they are input. All of them are input driven, but they're also a way for the students to say, oh, that's what was happening. Or like, oh, okay, I got that. So there's a purpose for the activities so that they really understand everything that happened in the episode. So I think that's really important. And I think it's amazing. And Luisa, you said you used it with your Spanish force. So you maybe saw the level that they can understand with those subtitles from the beginning to the end.
Yes, they definitely rely on them.
Yes.
And I sometimes pause the screen and I ask them a question. And so I definitely agree that we need the Spanish subtitles.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And better to not have those English ones. So that was kind of the aim of our activities, to have a lot of variety, to make them, Lisa, she was the one who suggested all those different activities. And then, so to have a variety and then to be able to make some of them adaptable. So we'll just talk about how we use them in class and what we do, kind of our, what we've decided in our little department, and then we can talk about some other ideas and you can share how you do it as well. So for us, we use this series once we kind of got going in the school year, I think the second or third week in, we'll just talk about our culture and civic class first, Lisa. Yeah. So we have a class that's Spanish 4, 5, and 6. So we use it every Friday in there, every Friday of 5-day weeks. So if, it's a short week, we sometimes don't do it. Or like this week, I had a testing day today, so we're not going to do it. We also do it in Spanish 3 is when we start it. And when we first start it, we show it, at least I would say for probably a week, right? We kind of spend a week on it and then we show it every Friday. So our students that we have right now, I have a Spanish 3 class, so they're just they're starting and they're kind of moving along and they're using the novice activities. But our culture and civilization class, they jumped in on episode 7. So they saw 6 episodes last year and now, so we watch it every Friday. The students really like it. It's a break from the week. We have 85-minute classes. It's a break from whatever we're doing, but it's fun. They think it's easy, but they're getting so much good input. It's authentic Spanish that they're hearing. They're working together. Elisa and I do it a little bit differently, but I have students frequently work in groups and do the activities on Voces and have them say the activities out loud and work through it together. And because I have some, wide range, who doesn't, a wide range of proficiency levels. So they help each other, they work together. And yeah, it's been really good. The show is kind of corny, right? It's a little bit silly and the music is a little bit silly, but students grow to really enjoy it. Even if it's kind of like they love to hate it and make fun of it and make fun of the characters. But we found it to be a really good part of our curriculum. We're really excited about it. Lisa, do you want to add to anything about that?
Yeah, and it can also create like a really good class culture. They have like, they like it and they really, like you were saying, like with Juanma, they really connect to some of the characters, whether it's a love-hate with the characters. And it really kind of creates that class culture. I'll say like on Thursday and tomorrow's a go day and they're like, yes. So it is really, it's really motivating and they do really enjoy it. So
yeah. When you say you do you do this each Friday, is it just one part that you do?
Oh, good question. So some days 85 minutes, some days it could be 2 or 3, usually I would say, because I'm usually doing other things. And then for some reason last week, I think I only did 1, but usually 2, 3, I would say, right, Elisa?
Yeah,
And
I would say an
sometimes-
average 3
Yeah,
if we
And
do it for
sometimes
the
we
whole
might-
class.
yeah, because we are doing
I
other.
was gonna say, me too. I don't have 85-minute periods, but I won't show more than 3 in one period.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And they really like to sing the song too. Even they want me to leave the intro song on. And
Yes.
they want, and I really like your idea, Kara, about having them do the exercises aloud in small groups, because I have a small class, so I like that idea.
Mm.
I'm going to steal that.
Yes, yeah, I think I should say sometimes for the first activities, the close activities, the fill in the blank activities, I do those sometimes together, especially with my level 3. It's a non-honors class, and I find that one to be the most challenging one. It's the one that they do not enjoy that one.
Yeah.
All the others they're pretty good with, like I don't know, is they're shorter, but there's something about that one they just.
Mhm.
So for my class, it's a little bit weaker. I do that one with them, but the others they're usually doing together. Hi, Paula. Welcome. I'm Kara Jacobs,
I'm Elisa Kinatoa.
and we're the ones who wrote all the activities. And we're just kind of talking about what we do, which is show it every Friday. And we use it in level 3 and then our level 4, 5, 6 class. Some other things that you could do that I've done in the past, because last year, we've kind of a rotating curriculum, which we're working out. But last year I had a different show that I used in my culture and civilization class, but I did allow students to do for a weekly homework. They have a choice of different things. And some students I offered this. And so this is if you don't want to use it in class, it's a great thing to give for students for weekly homework because they liked it. They could just go on, watch it, do the activities. For students who are headed towards AP too, it's really good because it's that authentic audio. It's also really good for after the AP exam. So I teach AP second semester, and the test is the beginning of May. And then the students, I still have them for like 5 or 6 weeks, which is so much time. And they are like, we're done. And I have to no, we still have to do things. So this would be a great thing for that. And then also for sub days, Elisa and I found this is great. If say we do have a 5-day week, and if we're out on a Wednesday, we just move the go day. The students do it, they're happy, and they actually do the sub work, which is really nice. And they could do it on their own in their own time. Oh, one of the things I love, and I think Elisa, you do this as well, and Chris set this up, is that in the settings, each thing I just make 10 points, which I love that. But then I also set it up so that they can have 3 attempts and it takes the highest score.
Mhm.
I mean, I told them, I said, I want everybody to get 100 on this. This isn't like trying to get you. So then they can see their mistakes right away, that instant feedback, and then resubmit. I really like that. So I think that's really important. We're not trying to like get them. I want you to get hundreds. That's what I do. Elisa, do you have it set up like that too?
Yes, I do that too.
Yeah, that's a great feature. Elisa, anything else you want to add?
The only thing, kind of going back to how we use the activities, that I got from another colleague, is, and I hadn't thought about this before, and I just started doing it, using watching the episode. And sometimes I like last year I would use it and I would be like, oh no, we don't have enough time to watch the next segment and do the activity. So using the activity, if you don't get to it, as like a review of what happened in the next class. So I kind of took the pressure off myself to like get that activity done right after they watched the episode, and kind of thought about it as like, oh, we can do that activity first, to remember what happened, and then go on and watch the next couple of segments. So
yeah, and that would probably be a good time to do the activity together, right? If you're doing the activity from a week ago. Yeah, definitely. So we can talk a little bit about why we think Go is a really great choice of a series to use, because there's so many good ones, right? And there's more and more that are coming out. I see on social media all the time, there's so many great series, which is so exciting. But one, one reason Elisa and I think we've had a few text exchanges on Friday, like, oh, it's a go day. It's so nice because all these activities are done, which is so, oh, it's just so nice that they're novice and intermediate as well. But also the show is just, it's totally appropriate, which is so wonderful, right? There's, in my mind, I mean, everybody has a view of what's appropriate, but I think it's completely appropriate. And the music in it, I think, is really a catch for students, even if it's really silly. It breaks up the show a lot. And sometimes they don't have to focus on the input as much. So that's another really good reason. And as I said before, students kind of love to hate it, right? And it's got so many tropes in it, right? Like it's got like the cheerleader, the captain of the basketball team. It's almost like just so silly that it's not even real. Like I say to them, are the students really this mean? Like, is there someone like Lupe? You know, so there's a lot to talk about. I think they really enjoy it. So yeah, I just think it's a great series to use, especially the appropriateness is just, that makes me feel very comfortable because I've used Gran Hotel and El Internado, and both of those, sometimes I'm like, I don't know about that. The language of El Internado and some of the themes, obviously, and then Gran Hotel, the same thing. I have to skip parts, and sometimes I feel a little bit nervous about showing those, but I never feel that way about Go. Elisa, anything else about Go that you would say?
I don't think so. I mean, yeah, it's definitely a show that, like, in the beginning, I like to tell my students, like, it's really cheesy. It's kind of like a High School Musical. And some of them are like, oh yay, and some are like, oh geez. But yeah, and it does, and I always like to tell them, like, it kind of starts out, you know, and then as you get into some of these newer episodes, in my opinion, it gets a little bit more interesting. So I find that the later episodes really get a lot more engaging. Some of the drama really starts picking up. So always they get really excited, you know, because the boys, Alvaro and Juanma, don't even start to sing until like the 6th or 7th episode. So once the boys start singing, they get really like, Juanma sings. So
and then thinking about extensions too that you can do, or I've done in the past. There's all sorts of YouTube videos, like there's a backpack, or not a, yeah, backpack challenge. Think like what's in their backpack. They have a thing where they show their dream boards. There's all sorts of things you could go out and use beyond. For assessments, because sometimes people ask about what do you assess them on it? So it's just a classwork grade that we have. Our grades are depending on the class, like 70% assessments and 30% for homework classwork type things. So this is just a small part of their grade. But for our final exam in Spanish 3, we do have some things, right? I can't remember, Lisa, just some questions on the final exam for Spanish 3, right?
yes.
And then
yeah.
culture and civ is a choice. They have a whole bunch of different things that they can do, and they can choose a character from Go, or they can choose something related to Go. So we don't really do, well, in Spanish 3, when we show it for that week, we do have an assessment that we give them after that first week, because we find that works really well to do a week of it, just Go. And we do a lot of intro. I don't know if you've seen, but before episode 1, there's a few things that are just character descriptions, really basic. And they're in the intermediate level, but they're novice. So that really helps. So that's the assessment. We do one big assessment in Spanish 3, but other than that, we just show it through the semester, and we think it's a great addition to our curriculum. And it hits, there's in the 5 C's, there's the communities standard, which is it's my favorite one, using the language for enjoyment and enrichment. And that's what this does. So it actually, how lucky are we that that's one of our standards, is to use the language for enjoyment and enrichment. I love that. Probably my favorite one. So that's, so yeah, we love it. We're so happy that Voces was able to get it licensed and to have the vision to put all these different activities and the novice and the intermediate level. It's pretty great because you can even use it in level 1 as well. And I think, I can't remember, Louisa, I think you said you pause it a lot, right, as you show it? I do the same thing.
I do. I do pause it, especially when Martin talks, because he talks quite fast. I tell them that I think it's fast for me. So I do. I wanted to also add that my boys, the basketball players, they kind of make fun of the moves sometimes, but that's okay. You know, they still want, you know, they get into it. They really do. They look forward to Fridays. And
Yeah.
I agree. I feel very comfortable. I don't have to worry about any inappropriate language. And I love Gloria, and you know, who doesn't like Gloria Mauricio, you know, except
Yeah.
Gloria doesn't, her outfit is always the same.
Oh, I haven't noticed that. I'll have to notice that.
She
We're
wears
thinking about that.
the same suit all the time.
Oh, cute. I'll have to see if they notice that. I will say I have my husband and my two sons are really into basketball and as basketball players, and I've had my son in class. And the basketball the other day, I noticed, you know, there's like Spalding or I don't know, whatever basketball brands there are, right? But the brand of the marca, the brand of the basketball that we saw and go, it just says sports. So I pause it. It's so fun. I pause it and I have 3 basketball players. I think I said, guys, guess what brand it is? So they were like Spalding, I don't know, whatever that was. I said, no, it's just sports. Yeah, so there's a lot that they can get a kick out of.
That's how you get away from having to pay licensing fees to
Yeah.
an actual ball manufacturing company. Martha did ask a question in chat about the 3 attempts that you do. Do you always do that? As opposed to, say, the setting for require 100%, you just have them do it 3 times and just that's the grade you give them?
Yes, and then I set it so that they can see their answers or they can see what they got wrong.
Mhm.
Right.
Sometimes recently I've messed up and I don't think I don't know what I was trying to do, but yes, so and then they usually get 100. Wouldn't you say at least too?
Yes, definitely. They usually keep going until they get 100.
Thank you so much.
Because it does, when it auto grades it, it does show, like it gives them a check, like an X on the ones they got wrong. So then they just go back in, they don't have to redo the ones that they got right. They just have to fix the ones they got wrong. So it makes it a little less labor intensive the second or third time through.
They could, if you wanted them to, have to do all of them over again. There is that
Yeah,
option
okay.
now.
Yeah, no, I don't want that. The
Right.
one thing I did notice is I think one student was gaming the system with the true false and just marking it and then hitting submit.
Oh, yeah, that would have been me as a student.
Yeah. So I think recently I tried to play that, but then I was like, you know what? Most of them are doing it. I don't know if he does that. I don't know, but whatever. Because I don't want them to be frustrated when they're doing the activities. I also don't want them to game the system. So I don't know how to, just the true or false, I think is the only one that they could really do that, but.
Yeah, there is an option for minimum time on a page.
Oh,
That might be a way to prevent them from just, they could still do that, but they'd have to wait the 2 minutes or whatever
right.
before they press submit. And in that time, they might actually read the questions.
Yes, because it would be like, what else are you doing?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, all right, that's good to know for the true or false setting. I'll have to look at that one for the next one. Good, thank you.
And Paula,
other-
you jumped in late. We had talked about how Martha and Louisa use Go. Have you used Go with your students already?
I actually am using it. I am using it with my Spanish. The Spanish 3s and 4s are using, and the 5s, but I'm not teaching 5. But yeah, they're really enjoying it. And I'm doing a little quiz. We did the first couple together in class, and I kind of modeled how to do it. And then this week was the first time I said, okay, you have to get an 85% or better. And then they're really enjoying it. And I'm doing some little quizzes that mostly mimic what they did so that they're not just sitting next to somebody, click, click, click out of class, and then asking a question at the end that they do a little writing for. And the one we were on this week was, my gosh, his name escapes me, but he's in his office looking at the dancing ballerina statue, little statue.
Ramiro.
Oh,
Ramiro.
What is Ramiro? Yeah, do you think that they have a past, or what's happening to him, so that they could just describe how he's feeling while he's looking at that dance statue? So,
Nice.
but
So-
my kids are just loving it. One kid said to another teacher during study hall, "Yeah, we get to watch TV for Spanish class."
Yeah, it's so great. We're so lucky to be able to do that, and it fits, right? You were saying something, maybe I lost my train of thought, but that's great to see the writing. That's a great idea.
And I just want to mention, Kara, we have Iska Nardi Warner, who's actually been with you in person teaching.
I know her.
You know her?
I worked with her at Brewster. Yeah.
Okay, she's teaching 1 and 2 for us this year here in La Hui,
Oh.
on the
Who is it? I missed who it was.
She worked at Brewster teaching Spanish the year I was there.
Oh, what's the name?
Iska?
Oh, okay.
Warner?
Oh, yes, I remember her. Yes. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so I have a class, so I have to go, but thank you so much. I had written a little note. I'll go ahead and send it anyway. But thank you so much. I had used Voces, I want to say years ago when I was in Wisconsin, and have gone back to it this year, and we really love it.
Great, nice.
Great.
That is great to hear.
Lots more in there than there was.
Yeah, there's so much. It's so good. There's a
Great.
lot.
Thank you. Gotta go. Bye.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, I feel like every time I go in there and a teacher will email me with an assignment that they did that I need to look at or something, it's like, oh, I've never seen this page before.
Yeah, there's a lot. It's great. There was something else I was going to say about the platform that I can't remember what it was. The settings, something about the settings.
And that was, you had mentioned, Louise had mentioned pausing it. Have you used the slow feature to slow the videos down?
I haven't. I probably should. I mean, that would be good, but I haven't. Elisa, have you used it?
No, I haven't either. But that would be a great idea.
Yeah.
I
and
used
I
it,
haven't either.
I used it with
either.
my novice
Okay.
group. And when I showed the first episode, which was only 8 minutes, I did a regular time. And then the second time, after I went over the expectations of how I wanted the groups and the questions, thanks to Chris, I would say I slowed down the video, and they were like, oh, thank you. They were able to capture more of the language
Mm,
when it was in a slower version.
yeah, I should probably use that.
And that's just from that gear right there in the bottom right corner. I believe you click that, yep, and then you've got the speed option.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. And that's nice, the 0.75.
And that is on the that's also on the interactive video activity where you can slow those down as well.
Oh, okay. That's great. I remembered what the other thing I was going to say that I really like is let me just find it. The question answer is that I like that the students, when they're doing these activities together, they can't just say A, B, they have to read what it says because all this side is mixed up. So when they're working together, and they're helping each other, which is great. I want them to. They can't just say like one is A. They have to say the sentence. So I love that feature, Chris. That's scrambled. That was the thing I was thinking of. Another thing that I liked. But I think that's it. Lisa, you have anything else, or do you have any other questions?
No, I think that's it for me.
Okay.
You guys have questions?
Okay.
All right. Looks like Martha might be typing something. Oh,
Thank you.
it's funny
Thanks
how
for
you start to be able to tell how somebody's shoulders are if they're typing
Yeah.
or not.
coming.
All right.
All right, great.
Well, Kara, Elisa, thank you for hosting this.
You're welcome.
And Louisa and Martha, thanks for joining and interacting with us as well.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Take care. Thank you.
And Chris, you don't run away when you see my number.
I never do.
I know you never do. Now you know